What's up, it's Cinnamon Shogun here, and just when you thought it was over, the mystery surrounding Bob Saget's death continues. And now the authorities have released crime scene photos from Bob Saget's hotel room. Now don't worry, these photos aren't graphic. They're not going to show Bob Saget's body. Bob Saget's body was taken away from the hotel room before they took these photos. But just by briefly going through these photos, I already spotted some red flags. You guys know how I am, and to be honest, these red flags weren't hard to spot if you know all of the details surrounding this case, or at the very least, you know what the investigators have been saying about this case so far. But let's just go ahead and hop right into it. The Bob Saget crime scene photos raise more questions than they answer. Hotel suite pictures show padded headboard and carpeted floor in room where comedian fell and fatally banged his head. Now, for some reason today, now that they released these photos, today now people are starting to question Bob Saget's death. Because for the most part, I know you guys watch my videos, and I make these videos, but the general public, they still never realized that Bob Saget's headboard was padded and all of these things. They still think that he, hit his head on the headboard and died. So they haven't been following this case as closely as some. So this is coming like breaking news to a lot of people. So we're having a whole new wave of people who didn't know that there was a mystery surrounding Bob Saget's death. Now they're on board asking questions as well. And I think that's a good thing. As much attention, as much eyes we can bring onto this case as possible, it's a good thing. And it doesn't matter how you feel about Bob Saget. Even if you think Bob Saget's a bad person and that he was knocked off because he was a bad person, he was wrapped up in bad things, why not expose that? So let's just go ahead and hop into the details. The plush Florida hotel suite where America's dad, Bob Saget, mysteriously banged his head and died is revealed for the first time today in haunting crime scene photos. Cops cataloged every surface and object inside room 962 at the Ritz-Carlton Orlando Grand Lakes as they looked for anything that could have caused Full House legend Saget's fractured skull. The group of images released Tuesday by the Orange County Sheriff's Office include a shot of the padded headboard above the comedian's bed, as well as his walk-in shower, bathtub, desk, and minibar. And if you've been watching this channel, you already knew that his headboard was padded. It's a damn shame that it took this long for them to acknowledge that in the mainstream media. It's a damn shame it took this long for investigators to acknowledge that, because the original story was that he hit his head on the headboard. I broke that news to you all months ago, that his headboard was padded. These photos, they're the first look that you really get to see inside of his bedroom. But if you go Google, you can see what the rooms look like at this hotel room, so it wasn't a big secret, but a lot of people just don't do their due diligence. So a lot of people didn't realize that. Investigators never determined exactly what killed Bob Saget, but they suggested in their final report, are you serious? That he likely slipped and struck his head on either the headboard or the carpeted floor in the early hours of January 9th. That is not true. In the final report, they stated that he must have slipped and fell on the carpet. And you see, all right, when he first died, when the autopsy came out and we realized he had these head injuries, the investigators originally said the headboard. And then rumors started swirling. The general public started paying attention to all of these YouTube videos and different people who exposed the fact that these headboards are just cushions. Then they changed it to the bathroom. And then the investigators said, well, they couldn't find any hair or blood in the bathroom. And, we already knew that from the initial report. So then they changed their story to he slipped and fell on the carpet. So the final report really doesn't say anything about a headboard. It actually says that he fell and slipped and hit his head on the carpet. The $800 per night suite has an entranceway with a wooden floor leading to a living area with a couch, chairs, various lamps, a dining room table, and a mini bar atop a cabinet. There's an empty bottle of soda in the trash and a used glass tumbler. None of the alcohol has been opened. So those of you wondering, was he under the influence? The toxicology report came back No drugs, no alcohol in the system. They said that there were bottles of alcohol in this room. I'm sure maybe some of them were like bottles that come along with the room. None of them were open. Saget's clothes, pay attention to this. Saget's clothes, including jeans, a t-shirt, and a jacket, are hanging up in a walk-in closet along with a sweet bag. The initial report about Bob Saget's death. Now, this is before the autopsy even got done. When we heard that Bob Saget passed away, we heard a few details. He was found laying in his bed, and that his bags were packed and by the door. If you've been watching these videos, you know that I have been hyper-focusing on the fact that his bags were so-called packed and by the door, because I found that kind of odd that he didn't have, items laying out. And now they're saying that, turns out the walk-in closet had these outfits and there's different articles of clothing laying around. So now the story has changed from, the bags were packed and by the door. Now all of a sudden there's a bag in the closet, there's clothes hanging up. And those details might sound really small to you, but when you're looking into an investigation, the small details are everything. And what I'm paying attention to here is, I'm not saying like, the clothes were hanging up or the bags are by the door. This makes all of the biggest difference in the world. What I'm saying is, it shows inconsistency in the story that we're being told. Investigators, they have to pay attention to these things very closely. They can't just say whatever the hell they want in these reports. So you're supposed to be able to rely on hanging on these investigators' words very closely. And when the stories start changing, especially in a shady situation like this one, you have to begin questioning, what type of motives would the investigators have to lie if they possibly were lying? Because, the bags were packed in by the door. Now you're saying his clothes were hanging up in the closet and his bag was in the closet. And that is conflicting reports from the same investigators. Why is their story changing? I'm not sure. Various photos of the bedroom area depict the king-size bed in which Saget was found dead, complete with white sheets and a cream-padded headboard. An assortment of items are pictured on the nightstand, including a pair of glasses, an iPhone, an iPad, earbuds, a charger, and a chapstick. Now, the fact that his phone and all of these things are right there on the nightstand, it makes me feel like Bob Saget put those items there because he was going to sleep. Now, if this was a smaller room, I would say, that doesn't necessarily mean that he was in bed. Because, in a smaller hotel room, you have limited options about where you're going to lay your things down. He had like a whole living room area in this hotel room. So the fact that everything is right by the bed, I think that may be an indicator that Bob Saget was in bed. I don't really think that he would have gotten in bed and went to sleep with this extent of injuries. I don't see how that would be possible. But I think that may be an indication that he was in bed, or at least they wanted him to look like he was in bed. Inside the bathroom, the images show various toiletries, including deodorant, mouthwash, toothpaste, and hairbrush. There's a used towel in the bathtub, and it's possible Saget took a shower, as there are soap and other items on a shelf in the cubicle. Another major red flag. All right, the first red flag was the clothing and the fact that the suitcase is now in the closet when they originally said everything that he had was packed and by the door. So that was a major red flag for me. Second red flag is the talk of, like the bathroom looked like it had been used. It looks like Bob Saget took a shower and all of these different things. That sticks out to me because in the beginning, it was stated that they don't believe that he fell in the bathroom because they couldn't find any blood and any hair in the bathroom. Now, the fact that they couldn't find any hair in the bathroom is what really stuck out to me. That's what really stuck out to me because I feel like even if, maybe he didn't fall in the bathroom, but even if he took a shower, brushed his teeth, took a shit, what have you, I feel like they would have been able maybe to find some of his hair in the bathroom. So the fact they couldn't find any of his hair in the bathtub and, and anywhere in the bathroom, it really stood out to me because I just find that really awkward. Because, if you just go and use the bathroom, humans, we leave behind skin particles and hair everywhere we go, especially if you're showering, especially a 60-something-year-old man taking the shower. You're going to leave a hair behind. You're going to leave a pube behind. You're going to leave something behind in that bathtub. But they couldn't find anything. And I find that odd because the way it looks in these pictures, it looks like Bob Saget was taking showers and using the bathroom. So why couldn't they find hair? It's almost as if someone cleaned that bathroom thoroughly so they couldn't find hair. Now, I'm not saying that's, the case of what happened. I'm just saying it's a possibility because we have to remember that Bob Saget passed away around 4 o'clock in the morning. And they didn't come do this wellness check on him until later the next day. Almost a half a day passed by, before they came and did this wellness check. So people had plenty of time to try to clean things up. I just don't understand why they wouldn't find one of his hairs in the bathroom. And to take it one step further, if someone wanted to take Bob Saget out, maybe it would look good if they left one of his hairs in the bathroom. So, I just find it really odd that they couldn't find any hair. That's just weird to me. Investigators don't believe his injuries were caused by slipping in the shower. However, as a blow from a hard surface or corner, which would have likely broken the skin and left a more distinctive injury. Because they're saying that these injuries didn't break the skin and, there wasn't blood in the bathroom. So that's why they think that he wouldn't have fallen in the bathroom because the bathroom is completely marble. So we're seeing pictures of like an untouched minibar. You get to see pictures of his living areas. You see that it's a carpeted area. You could tell that he's been using this bathroom why is there no hair? I'm not sure. Our purpose was to locate specific places or items in the room that could have caused the trauma found on the autopsy. The countertops, tables, nightstands, and other hard furniture in the room had sharply defined edges and corners and were thought to be unlikely due to the fact that they would have lacerated the skin. The counters in the bathroom and the shower stall were ruled out for the same reason. Most of the chairs and couches were thickly upholstered and were too soft to have caused the type of extent of injury Mr. Saget suffered. As mentioned earlier, most of the suite was carpeted. The headboard of the bed was padded and set slightly out from the wall. These are listed here as possible mechanisms of injury, but nothing was located in the room that allows for a definitive conclusion. Saget had driven himself back from a stand-up gig 2 hours away in Jacksonville before coming to the Ritz-Carlton. He arrived there at 2:13 a.m. We know that his time of death was placed around 4 a.m. The father of three was seen on the CCTV walking purposely across the lobby before entering his room at 2:17 a.m. But he wasn't seen entering his room. Let's make that clear. When he failed to check out later that day, security let themselves into his plush suite at 3:53 p.m. and found Saget slumped dead in his bed with swelling and small bruises in the corner of his left eye. Here's another, this is another issue that I have. And it's not necessarily from these details we get here, but it's something that I've been pondering over for a while. We've been asking questions, why in the hell would Bob Saget choose to, at 12 o'clock at night, drive 2 hours to a hotel room when he could have just stayed in Jacksonville? A lot of what people have been saying is because, he had other shows to go to, he needed to hop on a flight, and and things of that nature. We don't know that for sure. His family might say that, but then again, his family is blocking the reports from coming out. So I don't know for a 100% fact that that's what Bob Saget had planned. That's what has been said, but we don't know that. But if that is the case, let's say that's the case, Bob Saget was supposed to check out early that morning, catch his flight, and leave, correct? Why in the hell did it take them until 4 o'clock in the afternoon to check on Bob Saget? I don't know if you've ever stayed at a hotel before. When it's checkout time, it is checkout time. Yeah, they may give you a little grace period, but 9 times out of 10, you're supposed to check out at 9, 11, 12, what have you. They're not going to let you just sit there and chill in your room until 4 o'clock in the afternoon. They would have called by now to see, are you paying for another night? Now, he's Bob Saget, so maybe they're like, oh, well, Bob Saget can pay for whatever he wants. But I'm just saying, it took y'all until 4 o'clock, literally 12 hours after he died, for y'all to go down there and check on him. Let's take it one step further. His family knows that he's supposed to leave this hotel room in the morning. They supposedly know that he had a flight to catch. Why did it take them so long to become concerned? As a wife, when you don't hear from your husband in the morning, I'm not sure how their relationship worked. I would assume you start worrying. As a wife, when you realize, hey, Bob Saget didn't catch his flight, I would assume you start worrying. I don't think it takes until 4 o'clock in the afternoon for people to start asking questions. So they waited almost exactly 12 hours to the T from the time that he supposedly died to the time that they went and checked up on him. Now, he was supposed to check out the hotel that day. Maybe he had a flight. I'm not sure. That's some of the excuses that have been thrown out there as to why he drove for 2 hours to this hotel. I'm still not buying it because I believe he could have stayed in Jacksonville, took that little trip in the morning. There's also an airport in Jacksonville. I'm not sure where he was going to fly or what have you. I'm just stating that I'm not so sure that this is really the case, because I feel like someone would have checked on him earlier on than 4 o'clock in the afternoon. It just seems kind of weird, because if he was supposed to check out and catch this flight, why weren't people asking questions before that? Why did it take that long for people to wonder? The door to room 962 was latched from the inside, and there was no sign of struggle. Nothing was damaged, and no trace of blood on his sheets or bedding, the report adds. I don't think that if Bob Saget was taken out, if someone killed Bob Saget, I don't think there was a struggle there. The fact that the injuries are to the back of the head would be a key indicator of that. Usually, if there's a struggle, the injuries are going to take place to, the front of your body, maybe the front of your head. That's not to say if there's a struggle, you can't get hit in the back of the head. I'm just saying, from what we've been told, his body show no sign of a struggle. From what we've been told about his hotel room, from these pictures, they show no sign of a struggle. I don't believe that there was a struggle. I believe that Bob Saget would have been taken out. I believe that if Bob Saget was killed, he was killed by someone maybe he knew, maybe someone close to him, maybe someone he wasn't expecting, or he was simply caught off guard, maybe in bed while he was asleep. I'm not sure. But I don't think there was just a frontward struggle, occurring. I think it was something that happened when he was not aware. Like I said, because the injuries are to the back of the head, I think that's safe to assume. Unusually, the door to the adjoining room 961 was found unlocked by staff, and they established nobody had been inside it while Saget was there. They can't establish that. Why in the hell was this door unlocked? They even admit that it was unusual that it was unlocked. It's just like, you have to look at, what are the chances of things? What are the odds? What are the odds that Bob Saget slips and falls and hits his head and mysteriously dies in his hotel room at the exact same time that this door is mysteriously unlocked in his room, a door that is usually never unlocked? Saget had stopped briefly to pose for a selfie with a valet worker, Orlando Nunez, as he walked inside the hotel, warning Nunez first that he was recovering from the beer bug. Cops later used the selfie to determine that Saget was uninjured when he went up to his room. He had a mask on at that point, so I had no idea who it was. I said it's fine to take it off because I've had the beer bug twice myself. I recognized the voice, but it was only when he took it off that I was like, oh man, it's Bob Saget. It's so nice to meet you. I didn't see any injuries. He didn't seem hurt. He wasn't slurring his words. He was exactly as I remembered while watching him on TV as a child. I was in awe. Nunez said that the two chatted for a few minutes about their family, about the beer bug, about their home state of California. Before they took a photo, he said he had just driven back from Jacksonville, but he didn't seem tired at all. It was like he had just stepped off of stage. We talked about a beer bug. He made a joke about how there are so many strains now that they are giving them sorority names. If anything, I was very cautious about the picture as I wanted to be polite and respectful. But he said, "Get in here, come on." I've met a few celebrities who would barely say a word, but Bob was the most genuine, approachable guy. When I heard what had happened the next day, I was devastated. People keep asking questions about what happened, but I don't think there is a bigger picture that we are all missing. I just want him to rest in peace. So the guy who saw him last at this hotel says that he doesn't think there's a bigger picture here, and he just wants him to rest in peace. I mean, dude, you don't think that there's anything up here? This is a hotel that you work at. You don't see anything wrong with this story? I think 99% of people see something wrong with this story. And if you think those people are crazy, then why don't you just go talk to all of the neurologists and pathologists who all say the same things that we're saying? But hey. So, basically, from everything I see here, I see a hotel room that shows no sign of a struggle. But then again, my faith in law enforcement, my faith in the government, my faith in investigators, my faith in any of these type of people is so low. I don't trust any of them. Not a single one of them. I think that we're being lied to about almost everything out there in the world. And I damn sure don't think we're being told the truth about this Bob Saget case. So yeah, of course they could show us these photos. But what does that really prove to us? I mean, they even took Bob Saget's body out of the room before they took these photos. So you can't say that this room hasn't been tampered with. You carted off a whole dead body out of this room. So who's to say that you didn't tidy up a little bit? You know, I don't know if there was really no sign of struggle in this room. But like I said, I don't believe that if Bob Saget was killed, there was a struggle at all. But I have to look at these red flags and I have to react accordingly. Because at the end of the day, we were lied to. You could view it how you want to view it. You could try to word it in a different way if you want to. We were lied to initially about the details surrounding his death. Now, of course, we will never know all the details because they blocked the details. But the small details that we got, oh, there was no hair in the bathroom. I find that to be completely bogus BS, how they couldn't find hair in a bathroom that he supposedly showered in. Oh, the bags were packed and by the door. He had to leave early that morning. Blah, 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 blah. I'm so fucking tired of these lame-ass excuses. You're an investigator. It's up to you. It is your job to pay close attention to the details. I'm at home. I'm a YouTuber. And yes, I hung on to every single word that the investigators told us for this specific reason. You might think I go over these points over and over again. I do that for a reason, to drive it in people's heads that we are being lied to. Because they could easily get away with this over and over and over again. The devil is in the details. And when you look at the details, they have constantly changed since the beginning. Since the beginning. And I feel like it's being done to cover someone's tracks. I'm not sure whose tracks that may be. But the fact that these key, small, maybe you won't even call them key details. The only reason they're key details to me, because I think that these details are evidence that we're being lied to. We're supposed to trust these people. If you say that his bags are packed and by the door when you found his body, then that should be the same fucking story 2 or 3 weeks later. Don't come out a month, 2 later and say, oh, well, turns out one of the bags was in the closet, half of his clothes were hanging up, and, you know, there was a shirt over here, shirt over there. No. Y'all clearly stated that his bags were packed and ready by the door, like he was ready to leave that morning, and now it doesn't look that way. Now, it looks like it was more like something that I said, because I made the point that I don't think that he would have had everything ready to go. He doesn't seem like the type of guy that would just have everything together and ready to go. Most comedians aren't the most well put together people in the world, regardless of how they portray themselves on TV shows. So yeah, of course Bob Saget had some clothes laying around and hanging around. Of course he did. Because that's normal. The story about the bags packed in by the door, that wasn't normal to me. Now, what this may mean, I'm not sure. I'm not sitting here saying that this is a detail that you could look at and, oh, well, this obviously explains how he died. It doesn't necessarily, these details don't necessarily have anything to do with how he died, as opposed to these details show you that either we're being lied to or we're being given inconsistent stories by the people that we're supposed to depend on finding answers about this case. Now, there was some body cam footage. I'm going to react to that in my next video. There's a few more details that I want to react to as well that have come out. And also, I really have to question the reasoning behind why they released these photos in the first place. So I'm going to do all of that on my next videos. For now, I want to know your thoughts about all of these pictures, about these details. What do you think about these red flags? Are they something that we shouldn't pay attention to? Or do these details stick out to you like they stick out to me? Let me know down in the comments below. While you're down there, hit that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell, and as always, find some time out of your day to go watch a movie.